When India and China shake hands, the world notices. That's what Prime Minister Manmohan Singh said after meeting his counterpart, the Chinese premier, as part of a two-day visit to China. Several key issues were discussed, but not a word about internet and cybersecurity was mentioned. As key countries and activists from around the world rewrite the rules of who rules the online world in Bali, China has already created its own versions of social media, like Baidu is their Google, Weibo is their Twitter, QQ is their integrated social network and instant messaging service, WeChat is their WhatsApp version, and many, many more. But here's the catch: you need to be authenticated as a Chinese to access these services. Initially, of course, these companies came up as none of the foreign counterparts aligned with China's censorship demands. But over the years, they have not only allowed China to make billions of dollars in revenue, but more strategically, they've allowed China to carve a pretty big piece of the cyberspace for themselves. That's what we discussed on the social network today, social media in China, lessons for India. And to talk to us a little bit more about that and to make sense of that, we're joined by Probir, who is the founder of newsclick.in, and we're also joined by Jitin Jain, who is a cybersecurity analyst. Okay, Jitin, I want to just start with you first. What do you make of the fact that not a word about something that's becoming so huge now was mentioned at the meetings today?
I think it's completely disappointing that Honorable Prime Minister, when he's on his last visit as a Prime Minister to the China, he has not even spoken a word about the Chinese incident of cyber aggression, espionage or spying attempts or cyber attacks. Everything has been focused on the border defense agreements or the trade, because this is what Chinese and India are interested in. But not even a word of cyber security, that too in an era where cyber aggression is becoming equally important like border aggression. Yeah. And we have seen incidents in May, entire defense secrets from the DRDO servers were stolen, the DRDO officials were compromised, and all the attacks and botnets were traced back to China. And we have absolutely no framework to take up these issues with the China. So Prime Minister ought to have taken up this issue for building up a framework.
Yeah, okay.
Cybersecurity framework.
So in a sense, we're on a huge back foot. India's on a huge back foot when it comes to cyberspace, because we certainly don't have the infrastructure to set up something of our own. But there are, look at China. They've set up so many companies. They're earning so much revenue. Certainly, there are lessons that we can learn from China.
I think there are two separate issues. The fact of cybersecurity that Jitin talked about. We are being invaded both by the United States, the NSA, and by any and other countries that they want. And part of it is because our cybersecurity regimes don't exist. But more than that, I think the most important issue is there is today no regime in the world, international regime in the world, which addresses this issue, and that's the biggest problem. And it doesn't, because internet still, there is no legal basis to the internet. It exists by virtue of a private agreement between ICANN and the US Department of Commerce.
Absolutely.
It's not even set up by virtue of an act of the US Parliament.
Yeah.
So that's the legal basis where all these problems start from. The second part of the point that you have raised, and that's really an interesting issue, that today, globally, you are going to shift commerce, you're going to shift communications, and you're going to shift even the media to internet.
Yeah.
If that happens, who controls the space economically is very important. And obviously, China has a huge advantage because it built institutions which can act as players by virtue of keeping some players out and by also building an alternate. We have done neither. So I think there are some things to learn from China, some things not to learn from China. I don't think we should do what Chinese have done in terms of censorship, keeping things out and so on. At the same time, we really need to learn how is it that we can promote our own players in this space, because tomorrow it's going to be crucial commercial space, economic space, and also the media space tomorrow. I think that's very important.
I think this is why it becomes all the more important to at least now take up this issue of bringing entire internet regulating organizations like ICANN under the umbrella of UN. I am not saying that UN should administer or govern the internet. Information communication should be left absolutely free. There should be no control of any body like even UN. But these institutions like ICANN should come under UN, so that tomorrow US does not cite their territorial jurisdiction over ICANN or these servers or Google companies and take away information. Second point, you interestingly raised about these Chinese companies building up their own indigenized social networks. You see, it's an interesting issue. China is not concerned about PRISM because America could not do much spying on China because
they have their own.
Chinese don't use Google or other companies like Facebook. They have their own QQ and this thing, and America has no control over that. And now this WeChat, which is their version of WhatsApp, it is now attempting. There have been proven allegations of spying on Indian citizens. So on one hand, they have been able to defend themselves. They have been able to generate a lot of revenue. Tencent, which has bought up WeChat and QQ, is now the third largest company in the world.
Okay, in fact, Jitin, it's interesting you raised that because, of course, we've been seeing these huge advertisements about WeChat. In fact, Kabir has sent us this video blogs. He believes that China's internet prowess may be limited just within their own boundaries. Let's listen in.
See, China is looking to become an international superpower. So for that, it's looking to break the shackles of over the internet that is largely controlled by the West till now. And for this, it's looking at various options. It has gone and done cyber attacks. It has shown its power of how it would like to deal with the West's prominence on the internet. And this necessarily does not bode well for India. For India, it's better that the power of the internet remains with the West, because China still cannot be trusted as far as India's interests are concerned.
Praveen, I want to throw that out to you. It's very interesting what Kabir is saying, but I also want to just throw one more point. This whole idea of internet being a space that actually has no boundaries, is that also being compromised now with all of these developments that we're looking at?
Let's stop this fiction that the internet has no boundaries, because you and I are basically bound by sovereign laws of countries that we live in. So are companies. So if we are bound by law and companies are bound by law, internet is also bound by law. So that's a fiction that has been propagated
by America,
mainly by Americans. And let's be very clear again, they will say it about content which is not intellectual property. Minute it comes to intellectual property, they have the same stand as Saudi Arabia regarding content, or Iran regarding content, or XYZ regarding content. So essentially we are talking about two different kinds of content, and both these two sets of countries have very similar position, except one has an IP, the other has a content as content.
Right.
So this is one part of it.
At one point, now if
I just wanted to respond to one issue. This argument that we have to align with one or the other is a completely, to me, a very strange argument. Why does India have to say we are really incapable of defending ourselves? We either need Chinese protection or American protection. This is an absolutely, I think, the stupid argument. I'm sorry, your person saying it, because I think India is 1.2 billion people. We think we are going to be a superpower. We want a seat at the table, and we say we can only protect ourselves, America protects us. I think this is the mindset we need to get out of, which is why we say, should we go with China or should we go with X or Y or Z? I think we need to build our own institutions. We need to look at cybersecurity. We need to look at global governance.
I completely agree with him.
Instead really quickly, Jitin, you have 10 seconds to make your last point.
You see, what I am saying is that first of all, we need to develop our own operating systems, especially for mobile phones, and especially we should take the lead and set up our own examples. We don't need to follow America or China.